So today, we are making another one-pan pasta dish that is truly delicious. Like seriously, this might be one of the best ones yet. We're talking a creamy linguine pasta with shrimp. Now this is not a typical Spanish dish, this is a traditional Italian one, but of course, we're gonna give it a Spain on a fork touch. And let me tell you, this version has so many beautiful flavors to it. It's made with just a handful of simple ingredients, and it's a much healthier option versus the traditional recipe. But the best part, it's very easy to make. It comes together in about 30 minutes, and we're using the one-pan method, which means the starch in the pasta stays in the dish, giving it the most incredible texture and flavor. Let's begin by grabbing a large fry pan, heating it with a medium heat, and adding in 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, which is 30 milliliters. Now the olive oil I'm using for this pasta dish is from Apollo. This is your Miller's favorite organic extra virgin olive oil. It's got such a beautiful depth of flavors, and it works perfect with this pasta dish. Link where you can get some in the description box below. While the olive oil is heating, let's get the shrimp ready. I've got 14 raw jumbo shrimp here. These have been peeled and deveined, and I bought them frozen and thawed them out just to make things easier and cheaper, but you can also use fresh shrimp here. Either way, make sure you pan them completely dry with paper towels to remove any of the excess water in the shrimp. That way when we cook them, they're full of flavor. And we'll season the shrimp with sea salt and black pepper just on one side. After heating the olive oil for about 3 minutes, I'm going to start adding the shrimp into the pan, seasoned side down, and you want to make sure they're on a single flat layer, that way they all evenly cook. After about 1 minute, I'm going to flip the shrimp to cook the other side. After a total cooking time of 2 minutes, that's 1 minute per side, these shrimp should be perfectly cooked. You don't want to overcook them, otherwise they get a chewy texture to them. I'm going to start removing them from the pan. And we'll set them aside, covered with some foil paper, that way they stay nice and warm. Now using the same pan with the same heat, I'm going to add in 4 cloves of garlic that I thinly sliced, and 2 shallots that I thinly sliced. And we'll mix the shallots and garlic around with the olive oil. Very important to mix this continuously. This pan is very hot, that way the ingredients don't brown too quickly and they all evenly saute. After about 3 minutes and the garlic and shallots are lightly sauteed, you don't want to brown them too much, I'm going to add in 2.5 cups of vegetable broth, which is 590 milliliters. The broth that I'm using is homemade. You'll find the recipe on how to make it in the iCard above and description box below. Now to make this dish, you can also use water, but by using the broth, it really gives this pasta dish a beautiful depth of flavors. And we'll season with a little sea salt and some freshly cracked black pepper. And we'll turn up the heat from a medium heat to a high heat. Once the broth comes to a boil, it's time to add in the pasta. I'm going to be using linguine, but you can use whatever long string pasta that you like. I'm going to grab 225 grams, which is 8 ounces, and add it into the pan. And as you can see, the linguine doesn't perfectly fit in the pan, but that's okay. As it starts cooking and softening up, you can just mix it around. That way it's fully covered in that broth, and you don't have to mix this continuously, but do get in there every 2 to 3 minutes. That way the pasta doesn't stick together and it's all evenly cooked. After about 6 minutes, and you can see a lot of the broth has been absorbed by the pasta, but there's still some broth left, I'm going to place a lid on the pan and lower the fire to a low-medium heat. And we're going to simmer this between 2 to 3 minutes or until the majority of that broth has been absorbed by the pasta. After about 3 minutes, that pasta should be perfectly cooked al dente with the majority of the broth absorbed by the pasta. I'm going to turn off the heat and remove the lid from the pan. Then we'll add in our shrimp that we cooked earlier over the pasta. And we're going to let this sit here for a couple minutes, that way the pasta can slightly cool off. After about 3 minutes, I'm going to add in 1 container of Greek yogurt, which is 125 grams or half a cup. Very important that when you add the Greek yogurt into the pasta, it's at room temperature, otherwise it's going to easily curdle. Then we'll add in 2 tablespoons of finely chopped parsley, which is 8 grams. And seasoned generously with freshly cracked black pepper, the black pepper brings out a beautiful flavor in the Greek yogurt. And we'll mix this together until everything's well mixed. Once everything is well mixed, this dish is ready to go. For the final touch, I'm gonna add in a kiss of hot smoked Spanish paprika. You can also use chili powder. This is gonna add a beautiful balance of spiciness to this pasta dish. Check it out. Our one-pan creamy linguine pasta with shrimp is done. Easy to make, simple ingredients, and the best part, it's all done using just one pan. That way the starch in the pasta stays in there for the most incredible texture and flavor. Serve this next to a salad and a bottle of wine for the ultimate experience. Let's give it a try and see how it turned out. I'm telling you, this is what great pasta is all about. Here we go. That is so good. That was too big of a bite. That was meaty. First things first is that pasta, beautifully cooked, and with that vegetable broth, such a great flavor. And you have that creamy texture thanks to the Greek yogurt. Instead of using the heavy cream, making this dish so much healthier, the shrimp, and that kiss of hot smoked Spanish paprika for the perfect balance of goodness. You saw this, easy to make. It's done in 30 minutes, but the best part, we used just one pan to put it all together. Try this pasta dish at home. You will not believe how good it is. This is where simplicity meets extraordinary. Really quick before I go, a shout out to a couple of my patrons, Bert and Melissa Del Rio, Britt Saunders, Tandy Irvin, Paul Whitfield, and Wesley Evan Smith. Again, guys, thank you so much for being patrons of Spain on a Fork. You know how much I appreciate you. For the rest of you, if you're not with me on Patreon and you'd like to support the show so I can continue to release videos like this, you'll find my Patreon link in the description box below and iCard above. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button. Leave me a comment below if you're not subscribed. You know what to do. Smash that subscribe button. Till the next time, hasta luego. It's a wrap, folks. This pasta dish is seriously insanely good. I mean, wowzers. Look at that. I literally want to grab that pan and lock myself in a closet and eat it all. Love you guys. Okay, I'm back. This isn't fair. You don't have some.